Hello everyone, my name's Laffey, and welcome to the first of all of the god guides that I'll be making for the DKO roster. And to begin it, we'll be covering the beginner characters that we unlock, and I think there's no better than to begin with Amaterasu, as that will be a character that likely a lot of people will start off with. In this video, we'll be going over everything that there's to cover, including what her abilities do, her talents and traits, and including the best talents and traits that you can equip for her as you play her more, her strengths and weaknesses and the combos that she had. Note that not every character will have combos, so some of these guides may focus on things like the best playstyle for the gods or something else instead. Amaterasu's light autos on the ground are a 4-hit progression, with that being halved while in the air, meaning that she gets 2 attacks while being in the air. The charged heavy attack will also do 3 hits, moving players affected by this a little bit back during the whole occurrence and knocking them back on the final strike, and the air heavy charged as a normal downward hit. Amaterasu's first ability, which is considered her movement ability, is called Sunseeker Dash. Amaterasu dashes forward for a while, hitting enemies in her path, before flying upward with a uppercut. Enemies who are hit with the uppercut are launched into the air in front of her, and they will also be crit. Amaterasu's second ability, Heavenly Strike, is a charged, shorter dash that also deals damage. Enemies that are caught within this dash are then stunned and launched in the opposite direction that the ability was fired. Amaterasu's third ability, Sunlit Uppercut, is a small upward slash that takes enemies that are caught by it up with you. And finally, Amaterasu's ultimate, Final Light, is a small projectile ability which will provide her full immunity even while casting the projectile. Enemies who are caught within the ray will be unable to move and will be hit multiple times before being finished off with a final hit that will cause heavy knockback. Enemies are sent in the direction that you aim the projectile, and you can freely move this while holding the ability. Going over her talents, you are given the following talents and trait when beginning with Amaterasu. Way of the Blade, which allows your dodge to travel a little bit further and causes your attacks to deal 2 more damage when your abilities are on cooldown. Out of Here, which increases the knockback and damage of your second air light attack. Unrelenting Assault, which reduces the cooldown of your dash if you hit the uppercut. And Absolutely Dashing, which causes the E to grant 7.5% ult charge, and it's doubled when an enemy is hit with it. Ideally, for the most optimal talents and traits, players should be aiming to earn and equip Switching Strike. This allows your third ability to interrupt yourself during your grounded autos that will deal extra damage, which means that you can get combos off much more better, such as being able to auto cancel into higher damage. Out of Here should be kept from the beginner slot. Unrelenting Assault should also be kept, as hitting the final part of your first ability will reduce the cooldown by 5 seconds, which is quite optimal for allowing you to be able to recover quicker and better at using it to take a player out of the arena. And the final talent that you should aim to get, which is Sharpened Blade, which increases all of your damage by 1, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it allows Amma to deal more effective damage overall and put players into the thresholds which she needs in order to be able to land those combos. For blessings, players can look towards Thor's Landing, which further increases the cooldown of your first ability by 4 seconds if it connects with an enemy player, then either Weak Spot or Pummel, which will increase the damage of the one's crit, or having the final hit in a light attack dealing extra damage. The last blessing you can equip is very flexible. You can go to either Upward Slash, dealing extra damage on air heavy attacks, Sharpened Sickle, for dealing additional damage, or Hefty Swing for stronger knockback on the final hit of a light attack chain. Choosing which blessing you want in this slot is completely down to how you want to play her. Amaterasu's biggest strength is her combos. If you can pull off any of the combos correctly, she will be a complete menace. She also has effectively 3 dashes in her kit, so she can buy a lot of time and distance, whether it be high in the air, or just keeping away from enemies until she's able to recover and bait, and use combos, or even just reset her cooldowns, just anything that can keep her away from enemies and taking more damage. Another advantage is that, especially with absolutely dashing, ultimate Amaterasu will have a very high ultimate uptime, meaning that for such a powerful ult that can be used in combos or to just guarantee KOs, for it to be up very consistently is a very good thing for her. And finally, Amaterasu also has really good edge guarding, being able to reuse the combos if needed in order to knock someone out, being able to just use the ult to take them completely out of the game, or even using an air light into a heavy to knock out immediately, as a lot of characters struggle to recover from being knocked out from below. But despite her combos being very centralized around keeping enemies chained in the air to be able to knock them out in the arena and CC locking them, she kind of does struggle a lot in times in actual air combat versus other enemies, such as having longer ranges than her, or even sometimes just having better CC chain, whether this be Thanatos, Ymir, Hercules, or very much Susano. In order to be able to successfully pull off the combos as well, Amaterasu has to bait the dodge, and it has to be on cooldown, as there are quite a few opportune windows where players are able to recover by using dodge, and that will set off Amaterasu losing her combo. That means she will very likely lose Sunseeker Dash, and she has to play very, very careful, as even going further with that they can even punish her just by being able to edgeguard her, because unfortunately Amaterasu very much has very weak as much as she has Sunseeker Dash, she very much struggles to be able to properly get back onto the edge, as she unfortunately cannot use her E or her R while in the air. And this one kind of comes as both an advantage and a disadvantage, as players are very much rewarded for hitting Amaterasu's kit or landing the combos, but on the other hand, if you miss them, players can just take very big advantage of it, as Amaterasu has a lot of recovery time after casting abilities, and it takes a long time before she'll be able to move and continue as normal, which can be punished with other abilities or even other things such as charged heavies. Amaterasu can be played in many different ways and has quite a fair amount of combos, especially ones that I'm sure haven't even been discovered yet. But for now, I'll just mention the ones and show the ones that are confirmed and you're able to pull off with no issue. R into air light into an air light into a Q into a light or heavy attack. This can be pulled off at around roughly about 40 to 100% vulnerability. Usually if the vulnerability is higher than 100%, then you might end up missing Sunseeker Dash, unfortunately, as the knockback is too strong. Air light into Q into either a double light or a heavy, which can be done at 20% plus vulnerability and is generally used in edge guarding, or can even just be pulled off naturally and can very likely KO. R light F. This is one of the most simplest combos that you can get, but it has to be pulled off at 50% vulnerability, but as long as you aim it correctly, it will almost pretty much KO an enemy, as they will just be knocked back so far that they will not be able to recover. E into cancel, which you can do by jumping after you will hit an enemy, into a double light auto, into a Q, into another light auto, into the F. This combo can be pulled off at 20% vulnerability and will very much kill. Double light into R into double air light into Q into double air light or heavy or F. This combo can be pulled off at around 24% vulnerability, so you only need a few auto attacks to be able to pull it off. In the frame that you have those 3 auto attacks, you can bait the dodge, which will allow you to be able to pull off this combo successfully with no interruptions. Thank you all for watching this guide. I'm still really optimistic on being able to make DKO content and informative content for you guys. and hopefully things will go really well. But you can join me next time where we'll be looking at Hercules.